New reaction today to the House Republican memo as an article in The Atlantic warns that Trump's Saturday night massacre is already happening, and it reads, if the goal is to purge officials who Trump thinks represent some sort of threat to him, that's already underway. But Trump also doesn't have to purge them to achieve what he wants. He just has to create an environment that stifles things he believes represent a threat to him. And a new poll from Axios shows how that's playing out. The SurveyMonkey poll found that 47% of Americans have an unfavorable view of the FBI. Let's bring in Peter Emerson, a veteran of 3 Democratic administrations, and Republican strategist Lauren Zelt, managing director of FP1 Strategies. Lauren, I'm going to start with you here and get your reaction to the poll numbers. Does it concern you at all to see your party just seemingly turning against the FBI?
I have been concerned to see Republicans really politicizing this issue. I will say that. I think that it's important that we respect the FBI. Now, that said, what happened regarding this FISA warrant is very concerning. We know that partisan documents were used to obtain a warrant by the FBI, and that was not disclosed. That is concerning. That said, though, I am quite concerned about eroding public trust regarding the FBI because, you know, it's a bureau that protects all of us.
Mm-hmm. And Peter, do you think it's a stretch then to say that it's a Saturday night massacre is already happening?
No, I don't. I served as a senior advisor to a member of the House Impeachment Committee during the Watergate hearings and was in Washington during that entire time. This is far beyond a Saturday night massacre already. We have allegations that the President of the United States and member of his family worked with Russian either individuals, representatives, or agents to influence the U.S. election. We've been told by U.S. intelligence agencies time and time again the Russians are going to do this in 2018. They're going to do it in 2020. What Trump has done in his business dealings from friends who have worked in New York in his industry and is now doing in the government, he's intimidating, he's insulting, he's bullying people so that, as the Atlantic Monthly piece points out, he's created an environment where people are scared to speak the truth.
And to that end, Lauren, the president has not himself put any concerns about Rod Rosenstein's future to rest. Let's take a look at what he's saying yesterday.
Does it make you more likely to fire Rosenstein? Do you still have confidence in him after reading the
You figure that one out.
How do you interpret that, Lauren?
Well, you know, I think what would be smart for the president to do here would be to not terminate Mr. Rosenstein. I think he should keep him in place. And I think that the president would be best served to let this investigation continue and conclude. I mean, look, the reality of the situation is that we do know that Russia tried to meddle in our election in 2016. That should be concerning to all Americans, no matter what you are. And so I think that the president would be best served to just let this roll on, let it play out, and ultimately, should he be vindicated in the end, then we'll know that.
Exactly.
But continuing to talk about this back and forth, and especially by the president himself, it's not serving him. He should allow the investigation to continue and to conclude.
So then you are disagreeing with the tweet that he put out this morning saying that this totally vindicates him. Okay.
I am, yes.
Okay. And Peter, your take on the tweet overall?
I'm in complete agreement with what Ms. Zelt just said, complete agreement. I'm also in agreement with what President Trump tweeted at the end of his tweet, that this is an American disgrace.
You're coming from a different angle, though.
It certainly is a disgrace that you would take down the national security institutions of America and lower the trust of Americans in those institutions at one of the most critical times in our history, where we have not only Russia seeking to influence our elections, we've got economic war with China. We are no longer the central force of the world. So it is most definitely an American disgrace.
You know, after this memo was released, to Peter's point there, Lauren, we had the former FBI Director James Comey tweeting that it wrecked the House Intel Committee, destroyed trust with intelligence community, damaged relationship with FISA court, and inexcusably exposed classified investigation of an American citizen. For what? DOJ and FBI must keep doing their jobs. Why does it appear that more Republicans are not concerned about these consequences? Lauren, was it worth it, releasing this memo?
Well, I do think that the American people did deserve to know that a FISA warrant was obtained with documents that, were of a partisan basis. I mean, look, if the shoe was on the other foot and it was a Republican administration that had used documents from a Republican research firm to obtain a FISA warrant, the Democrats would be outraged as well. So, I do think the American people deserve to know about that, but I do think that we need to be very careful incidences like the memo in the future.
And with regard to the Democratic memo that's there, the rebuttal, Peter, what's the likelihood that's going to get released?
Who knows? Obviously, they want a lot of time so that this sink in. They know, as Trump has practiced for decades, the most important part of advertising and marketing is consistency and frequency. So the more we talk about it, the less likely they are going to release the Democratic memo, because they want the misfacts, the lies in this memo, which actually contradicts itself, as you pointed out in your reporting earlier, to sink into the American consciousness, once again, weakening American democracy.
Well, I'm glad we're having our discussions. Peter Emerson and Lauren Zelt, good to see you both. Thanks, guys. Coming up next, how the Republican memo is playing to the president's base, but at what cost?